Hello, how you doing? How you doing? Welcome back to another video on the John Landrill YouTube channel. Check it out, baby. We are currently posted up in my mom's basement. As you can see, I got my mat laid out. Check out this chair I'm on. Premium Lariat leather from my first truck, RIP Big Berth. My brother rolled it. It's a tough subject. I still have not forgiven him. All right. Let's get into the topic of today's video. Let's start things off with a quick thought experiment, if you will, as my philosophy professor would say. I want you to think of your absolute favorite distance runner who has competed and placed in the top 5, preferably won a medal at a global championship. Can you do that for me? All right. Got that in your head. Now I want you to think of someone, fate of the universe on the line. You have to get it right. In your gut, you know is doping. Can you do that for me? All right, you just did that. Now, I want you to take those two, and I want you to compare their PRs. That's right. I want you to compare their PRs. What's that? They're actually pretty similar. Now, I'm not saying that you're racist. I'm just saying that you seem to like people that are more like you. I'm joking. Let's actually get into this video and actually dive deep into the topic I want to discuss. So, a lot of times when foreigners are caught doping, people like to immediately say, oh yeah, they need to be kicked out of the sport. We need more dope. We need more people getting popped. It's better for the sport when these people are out. But when someone like Shelby Houlihan is caught doping, there are a lot of sympathizers. You know, one case I want to bring up really quick here is Mo Katir. Mo Katir didn't even get caught for doping. Mo Katir had a whereabouts failure where he missed a test, I believe it was 3 times, and then he just got suspended. Shelby Houlihan literally got popped with drugs in her system. And Mo Katir had a whereabouts failure. But Mo Katir has his comments completely disabled. You can't even share a post to the story. He got so much hate. I believe it was partly unwarranted. I mean, to be fair, he wasn't caught doping. It was very, very suspect. But it just appalls me when we see people sympathizing with people like Shelby Houlihan and then absolutely rolling people like Mo Katir through the coals, just showing so much hate towards him. This can be seen in other areas as well. You know, a lot of Kenyans are immediately suspected of doping when they perform at a crazy level. You know, when they run these crazy marathons or run these crazy times out of what seems to be nowhere, when in reality they took years and years of building up. It's just that they come from a different country, so we're not as well versed in their accomplishments as we are with the Americans. Now, one such case where this becomes extremely evident that people have a double standard towards Americans and foreign athletes is in the case of Parker Valby. You may have seen, as a clickbait for this video, I put Parker Valby in the thumbnail. That was not clickbait. Today we are going to actually be talking about why I believe she could actually be doping. This is extremely speculative. Nothing has been proven. This is just my own opinions and thoughts. Let's get into it. So, let's first start off with who she is. She was the queen of distance running in the NCAA last year. She ran the collegiate record in the finals at the NCAA championships, 0 pacer by herself, and was just messing around the whole time, doing the whatever ticks she does, you know, for the IG and TikTok. Speaking of IG and TikTok, part of why I think that she has become overlooked and why everyone thinks there's no way she could be dirty is that she is extremely active on social media and is conventionally and objectively attractive. She's a blonde. You know, there are people nowadays running the same times and same marks that she did, but they don't have near the social media presence, and they're also not an attractive blonde. They are foreign athletes. Now let's get into it. Her training. She tends to say that she borders on the line of a lot of cross-training, meaning that she doesn't really run that much. Now, we don't actually know for a fact her real training. You know, No one really gives out information on their actual training unless they have Strava, which she does not. But from what I've gathered in interviews and people have heard, is the stigma is that she does a lot of cross-training and not as much running. Now, you don't really see people really performing to the level that she has solely off of cross-training. You know, cross-training is not known for getting you very fit. Most people do cross-training coming back from an injury and they start running and it's not even the same level of fitness. But how has she been able to elevate herself to become the top of the NCAA? I think there's a decent possibility that she could be doping. Recently, she has deleted her Instagram. She has not raced since the New Balance Grand Prix and indoor. She deleted her Instagram, and I've looked at Let's Run message boards. People are going absolutely insane on Let's Run. I know already Let's Run is a negative place, but a lot of people are speculating that there will be an announcement soon of her doping. I'm not saying that this will happen, but it's not looking good for all my Parker Valby fans out there. I myself was a fan at first, and then I started to really think about how much of an anomaly she is to be able to put in this type of training. She doesn't really get injured that often. She doesn't really race that much during the season, but she doesn't really seem to get as injured. But because you would think someone that needs to cross train all the time would have chronic injuries, but she hasn't really been out this long since probably before her, and I don't think she's ever been out as long as she has been now. You know, it's currently about to be June, and she hasn't raced since indoor, which is unconventional for her. It's not unseen. It is her first year being pro, but the fact that she deleted her Instagram and she has not posted on IG or TikTok since indoor is a bit of a red flag in my opinion. You know, this could all blow over. It could be nothing. But deep down in my heart, I still kind of think something fishy is going on here just based off of her training alone. Now, what can we learn from this example? We can juxtapose it with other foreign athletes who have came to quite a rise and been able to compete at her level, but they just don't have the same notoriety and fame as her, and they're not American, you know? You see a lot of young Ethiopians, Ugandans, and Kenyans, and a lot of people will say that they lie about their age. That's another thing that people like to say. You know, while yes, it is harder for them to keep track of everything as they do actually live in a third world country, it's still a little bit, again, showing the double standard to say that they lie about their age and are doping. I will address the fact that drugs are a lot easier to come by. There have been documentaries about how easy it is to get EPO in Kenya, but that does not mean that they're trying to, that the government the governing agency is still trying to find these people and trying to get them out of the sport. It's not as bad as Russia was, but they are definitely popping a lot of people, but they're trying to do better. You know, in America, we don't see a lot of positive tests, but you have to think to yourself, if we're seeing guys like Cole Hawker, Grant Fisher competing with guys that are getting popped for doping and people that we think are doping, what's to say that they're not doing the same thing? Who's to say that Jakob Ingebrigtsen is not doping when he beat Mohamed Katir? There's a lot of different ways you can say, but at the end of the day, you have to look at these people and you have to put them in a category. You got to either think everyone is doping and anyone that's really, really good at the high level, they got to be doping, or you have to take away that if you're going to actually think that some of your favorite athletes are not doping. I'm not saying you have to think everyone's a doper. You just have to choose one or the other. Either everyone's a doper or no one's a doper, or they're just really, really talented. It's really hard to think unless you're one of those people at the highest level. It's very hard to know the truth and to know what is humanly possible, you know, because people always try to cheat the system, finesse it in some sort of way. We've seen it in other sports like cycling. It's not as well talked about in distance running. You know, in cycling, it's very open that people were cheating. But in distance running, it's not really talked about as much. And I want to kind of shed light onto this aspect of the sport. I'm not trying to be like a rain on your parade. I'm not trying to ruin your day. I'm just trying to tell you to not get too caught up in the fact of what other people are running or what foreigners are doing or who's winning the world championships. Because at the end of the day, we're still getting money. We're still getting paid. We are not those people. We're out here trying to be better than ourselves. You know, they're not taking anything away from us. We're just watching people compete. We're just the majority, and they are the minority of this sport. So we have the most control, is what I'm saying. I'm trying to start a revolution here. A revolution of thinking. I'm trying to fix our way of thinking in the sport. I'm trying to change and make moves. But I'm not doing too well. You know, I'm not popping on social media, but I'm still spreading my ideas and my words. It don't matter. As long as I keep getting views and people keep subscribing, I'll keep making this content. But please like and subscribe for me. These streets are tragic, man. I'm losing subs. I'm not gaining that much. And yeah, it would make me a lot happier if I had a lot more subscribers. I could road to 1K. We're getting closer and closer day by day. Currently at 533 or something like that. But please, if you made it this far into the video, I'm just rambling at this point. Like, subscribe, comment, share this with a friend. Let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on this video. If you hated it, if you liked it, it don't matter. Leave a comment because it helps. But yeah, that does it. As always, peace.